Welcome back to the Lords of Lore podcast networked, and this is the first inaugural episode of Unabashed, the show wherein I have a guest on, and they talk about something they are fascinated with or an unabashed fan of. And today, we're talking about something very special to me. If you can see, if you're watching this video, you can tell that already. But more importantly than being special to me, special to my guest here, Dustin Harris. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. How would you this is obviously the Lords of Lore podcast network, a nerdy space for nerdy people, but how would you describe yourself, or what do you do nerd related, or what do you do in your everyday life?
Well, I've gotten to the point where it used to be basically the only thing I watched was anime.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's progressed to a point where I've reached the end of all of it. So now I just read it all. I'm gotten to that point, but everything there is that is kind of accompanied by that.
Okay. So anime like became a pervasive thing, and now it's
very
like a
quickly.
constant. Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome. Very like aggressively, almost, you could put it.
Nice. I love that. And is your work related to anything nerdy, or is this just your?
Well, I'm in school in computer science right now.
Okay.
I kind of hope something nerdy. I would like to do something, like at least test out the waters in game design. Something like that would be kind of cool at some point in my career.
Sweet.
But the people you're around, all nerds. So
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, buddy.
I bet. Okay. And I just for the audience, I know Dustin, we've known each other like almost 10 years now.
Probably about 10 years.
Something like that. And I think we've become good friends over the last like maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And we've actually reached the heights of nerdery together. We played in several different D&D campaigns with each other
and wrote our own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're in it thick, you and I. But yeah, let's dive straight in to the topic you brought to Unabashed today. The thing you are self-proclaimed as obsessed with.
The Naruto series.
Naruto. So the first segment of the show is called the elevator pitch. So I want you to imagine I am some bigwig Hollywood executive that greenlights projects, or maybe your computer science has come in such a way that you're wanting to game design the next Naruto thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine I'm also an alien and I've never heard of Naruto.
Okay.
Or I'm not in the demographic, whatever the case may be. So before I get to the end of the elevator ride to my floor, how would you sell me on the idea of Naruto, or at least get me to watch it?
Oh, I would open up with one thing. It's a world of ninjas. I don't know why you would need to go any further, but if I had to, I would basically just say, imagine old world Japan and elements from Dragon Ball collided. And you have these like borderline omnipotent ninjas fighting turf wars where everyone has their own kind of ability and their own, like release of what they would call chakra, which is their power. But it's also the fact that they use so much from like mythos and like ancient beliefs and stuff like that. Like a lot of it comes from, like aligning your chakra and like the elements of the chakra on the chakra tower. So it's like taking real life beliefs plus the ultimate nerdery of anime and ninjas and just going to the wall with it.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Yeah.
I'm definitely intrigued. So now we go into the origin segment of I'm sold on that. So success on the elevator pitch.
Yes.
The origin story part of the show. So I need to know, how did you get into Naruto?
Oh, okay. So this kind of has like a little bit of a oh no moment with it. I used to be one of the people who hated anime.
That's okay.
For no reason either.
Yeah.
Um,
Why? Was just the people you knew who were into it, or
no, the people I knew that weren't into it, I didn't know anybody who was.
oh wow, okay.
And then I got into uh, junior high where I met, my good friend Noah, and he is all about it.
Hmm.
And then he started making me realize that some of the shows I watched as a kid, like YTV late at night,
Right.
was anime. I've watched Death Note already. I've seen a couple episodes of Naruto, didn't even know that. And Dragon Ball was, and the thing I've loved since I was a kid was Yu-Gi-Oh! But I didn't
Yeah.
even know there was an anime to it. I thought it was just an awesome card game for the longest time, actually. You
Oh
know,
no way, you didn't know there was a show.
I didn't know. I actually,
Wow.
I would collect quarters in my parents, like around my parents' house, and then I would get on my bike and bike as fast as I could to 7-Eleven, buy a booster pack,
Yeah.
bike back before the parents realized that I went that far away from home,
Wow.
open it up, and then they had a little like rules card. So I
Uh-huh.
learned from there. And then I think about like 2 years after I got into it, I used to hang out with this kid named Dallas. You know Dallas.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
He showed me there was a show, and I was blown away. I was like,
He still
"What?"
plays today, I think, as
He
far as I
does,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I would too if I had people that, you know, that
Yeah, we'll hop on there sometime because
yeah,
I also play from time to time. But to me, the appeal of that was always the show was awesome and you could have those cards in real life. Like, so
yeah. And
sick.
then so for me, it was like I have these cards in real life, and the show has them like project
Oh,
and fight each
okay.
other. I was like, "What? No way!"
So you're like, yeah. So I guess for me, it was like I watched the movie and then I got the book and it was like, oh, it's so cool. But
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
you read the book and you're like, they made a movie?
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, "What?" Because like I wasn't really like I didn't have like access to internet much when I was a kid,
Okay.
so I had no way of even knowing.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, "What? This is crazy." But yeah, so like I went for a really long time, made fun of the kids, the weird kids who would run with their arms behind their back in
Yeah.
elementary school. I'm one of those kids now, by the way. This
Yeah.
wasn't
Oh, for sure.
it. Uh, and yeah, I started hanging out with my friend Albany from we know each other since we were babies. And he showed me this scene, and it was from I didn't know it was Naruto at the time, and it's so it has this guy, and he eats this little pill, and he grows these butterfly wings,
Oh,
and he
right.
starts
Yeah. Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, this is cool. I need to know what this is. And being a kid, he tries gatekeeping me. He's like, no, like don't worry about what this is. Just I showed you that. That's all you need to know. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So now we fast forward all the way to probably about I don't even know when it would have been, but it was 2 weeks after the final episode of Shippuden came out.
Okay. Wow.
I'm at Noah's house, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't had time to watch this. Like, do you mind if I watch something? Like, it's anime, but like I need to watch it." And I was like, "Sure." So I didn't really watch with him. I was on my phone,
Yeah.
and then I noticed
And he's watching the subtitled version, right?
exactly. So
Right. So
I had no idea what's
you're
going on.
like, yeah. Okay.
So I look up, and I see there's like this scene going on where I had the time to know who it was, but it was Naruto. He's building a Rasengan, and all these hands are coming
Yeah.
out of there, like growing it. And I look over at Noah, and he's bawling. And I was like, why? Why is this man crying? And then
Watching cartoons.
yeah, I was like, this is like, why are you crying, man? Like, come on, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I started watching it, and then like when I finally like started like looking to see what's going on the TV, they both are missing their arm. Last scene
Oh,
of
okay.
that
Yeah.
episode, and I was like, oh, maybe this
Oh,
isn't.
I
for
should
kids.
say spoiler warnings for Naruto.
Oh yeah,
Obviously.
sorry,
But
yes.
no. You don't have to worry about it. But just for anyone watching who didn't know, there's going to be a lot of that throughout. But go
Oh
ahead.
yes, but yeah, and I was like, oh wait, that's kind of a gruesome scene. Maybe this isn't for kids. So I start picking his brain, and he starts like showing me scenes on YouTube. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this show.
Yeah.
And I watched every single episode of Naruto and Shippuden and all the movies. Starting on that day, it took me 10 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I must admit, I have you beat.
Do you?
But my experience is very similar. So a mutual friend of ours, Chad,
Okay.
Chad is also a huge Naruto fan. And so I was at Chad's house and had always heard him talk about it with like you guys and other people. Um, and one day we were just hanging out and I said, okay, man, like, what is it about? Like, what is it? Like, just tell me, like, why do you guys like it so much? And this guy starts going off from from Hashirama and
Oh,
Madara.
he went to
Yeah,
the
he was like,
origins.
yo, okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. And he went in and like he's spoiling the whole show for me. So keep that in mind, right? And I'm invested. I'm like, wait, so he was that guy's oh shit. Like I'm like, oh man, this sounds cool as fuck. I better watch this show. But it had been spoiled for me. So I'm like, man, I don't know if I'll enjoy this as much as other people have. And I can tell you I did. Like, because when people, I think even in your elevator pitch, you're talking about like the magic system and like what people can do. But for me, it's the characters and
Mhm.
watching specifically Naruto like interact with everybody. It's way more emotional than I had gone in thinking it could ever be. Even that instance you talked about with like Choji with the butterfly wings. Like that scene is like it's not even like the beginning of that arc. Or sorry, it's the beginning of that arc. It's not even like the end of that arc. And he like makes this sacrifice and has like this insane fight where he like keeps powering up type of thing. And that's just like the beginning. And you're like, yo, the kid's dead. Like and
I know
turns out he's not, but yeah.
that was the one thing too that I always wanted to tell people when I talked about this show was like the level of sacrifice that some of these
Yeah.
people like Guy, um, who who was I thinking of? I don't almost don't want to spoil it, but
No. Feel free. I think if people are coming here, they're probably looking for some spoiler talk type of thing.
Okay, perfect. So like, Guy, he opens up the ninth gate or eighth gate, ninth
Oh
gate.
my gosh, yeah.
And you think he's dead. He would have been dead if
Yeah.
Naruto didn't get 6 paths all
Right.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
But that was perfect. But and like Perfect Sage, he like that's one of the hardest tasks. Like
Oh.
that can be a whole discussion in its own. That
Yeah.
one.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned that you saw Noah and he was like crying,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I remember myself watching that scene. I was fucking bawling too. Like,
Do you know what scene made me cry the most though?
oh, this is a question I have on here, but feel
Okay.
free. No.
Let's
Like,
wait.
you can jump to it now because.
Okay. It's actually when Naruto gets back to the village after defeating Pain.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Aruka
man.
Sensei is like, you did it, man. like everyone's like cheering him on.
I'm getting like
I was
goosebumps.
like, he's like, yo, you did it. Like everyone recognizes you now. I was like,
It's the best.
it only took 400 episodes, but yes.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, what a moment. The one that got me the absolute most, and I think I took a picture because at one point I was crying and like I took a step back and I was like, man, I'm literally like bawling my eyes out watching this children's TV show.
No, right.
So I took a picture to be like, man, look how ridiculous I look right now. But it's where he has a conversation like inside himself with like the Nine Tails, and then you see like his mom for the first time. And
he hugs
that
her.
yeah, that conversation, like I think it's like his mom and his dad and him, they all sort of get to meet for once. Like, because I don't remember how exactly it worked, but she keeps a piece of her power there for when he's ready to, um, bond with it or whatever.
Exactly.
But man, that wrecked me. And then finding out like she had suffered like a similar fate to Naruto, like it's just so sad. Yeah, that one got me.
Because like I like how he like clocks his dad.
Yeah.
Clocks him first thing. And I thought, like I was like
dude, that scene right there, he clocks him. Waterworks. I'm like,
I know,
man, I get it. Like,
or when he hugged his mom, I was like, oh, that's like the first time this man's ever hugged his mother.
Yeah. And the laughs too. Sad. It's really fucking sad. Yeah.
And it's not even like 100% real. It's like chakras, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, no, I think this show's probably like maybe there's some like franchises and other stuff that have probably made me cry more, but I think this show is probably up there in the property that's made me cry the most, just because like I'm so invested in the characters type of thing.
And you brought that point up earlier, and I actually was thinking about this today when I was just kind of thinking about some things that you would ask. I was like, oh, I should probably be ready. I haven't really watched the show in a while, but like still kind of have. And like that's the biggest thing is the characters. Like I don't think I've ever been part of a franchise, like watched a show or like read anything where I've liked this many characters.
Yeah.
Like there's maybe like 3 or 4 usually. Like I'm like I could there's no top 10 because like I don't know who I'd put in there.
It's one of those shows where like some people who love the show hate the main character, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like if you like this character, you probably don't like this one, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But like they still recognize the importance and stuff of other characters. We actually on the most recent episode of the podcast, if you haven't seen it yet, came out on Monday. We talk about anti-heroes, and I did sort of like a deep dive on Sasuke and why he's like the antithesis of Naruto. Like they want the same things, but they have the different ways of achieving them. Whereas
Mhm.
one's like community driven, and the other one's like, I'm gonna go get my power by myself. Fuck you guys. I'm gonna destroy the world, so I'll rebuild it. It'll be better. And this guy's like, let's talk it out.
Yeah.
Or fight. Fuck it.
Let's fix what we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if there's any other show that does a character development as well as this, from like the first episode of Naruto to the last, like that character development. But that being said, there's 800 episodes to flesh them out, so it's tough to get it wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
But I got some more questions in this part of the show called the go off segment.
Okay.
So what is the thing, like you said characters, but obviously like in your pitch you'd included like the powers are like one of the biggest draws to the series. So what's the thing you love most about this? Is it the combination of the two, or is there something that pulled you in more so than the other?
Um, Characters definitely like is what kept me. Drawing me in was the structure of like the power and their abilities and everything. I thought it was really cool to like you have this natural energy inside of you, and you have to learn how to like control it and then release it in certain ways. And you can't release this way because the power that's inside you isn't of that nature.
Right.
And you have to like go through this like grueling training to like figure out not only like what type you have, but like how to use it and like what you can do with it. And like there's reserves. So like when you are fighting and in battle, you have to like make sure you're like watching how much you're using. And then like there's a whole, I know we have talked about this, but like then you get into like the Kekai Genkais and stuff.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you don't even really know what they are. I still have a hard time with some of those. But that was
so there's a thing in like fantasy series, like hard magic systems versus soft magic systems.
Mhm.
I think this one falls somewhere in the middle where like the rules aren't super defined, but there's an explanation enough that you're like, oh yeah, based off what they've said, that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you get to like the Kekkei Genkais, it's like, yeah, oh no, they were born that way.
It's like almost like one of the biggest plot armors. It's like,
yeah,
this would be really cool to write in, but like it goes against our rule.
What if the guy had bones?
Yeah, I know, what if like he just had big bones that stuck out of him, right? You know?
Yeah. Sick. All right. How do we make it work? Oh, he's born that way.
Yeah,
cool.
It's an anomaly.
This guy can shape wood.
Yeah, no, there was a couple like who I always forget this guy's name. Haku, the glass.
Yeah, with the mask. Yeah.
The mask, yeah. Like we never really saw anything like that ever again. That was like a one-off too.
Yeah, really also tragic character.
Another tear. Yeah, like, that's another tearful moment actually, is that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's like the first arc. Like, yeah, it's really messed up. The next question I have for you here is speaking of characters like Haku and tragic characters, but which character do you find yourself most related to? Like, which character do you see yourself in the most?
Oh, I know what. I would love to say a cool one. Actually, you know what? Shikamaru is awesome. Shikamaru. I was gonna say that's kind of lame, but like, yeah, like
that's the very Shikamaru answer to say, like, you know, like nonchalant.
Yeah, like
pretty sweet.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. Like, you know, he does the bare minimum, but gets the job done.
Yeah, I can resonate with that.
Yeah, man. Like you know, when everyone is like everyone's sleeping when Orochimaru like puts everyone to sleep.
Yeah.
He didn't get affected, but he still just went and took a nap anyway. Like that's 100% me, man. Like
Yeah.
I'll wake up in the morning, working from home or not even working actually. It's rainy out. I'm like, I don't really need to be awake right now. Like, there's no need. But yeah.
How do you feel about his sort of progression in the story or character development? Obviously, he goes through one of the saddest arcs as well, in losing like a mentor and stuff. That's something maybe like gravitated towards, or
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that until you said that. That was a sad one.
yeah,
But yeah, like I think why I definitely chose him was because I think you see in his character development is what you'll experience in like real life is, you don't really see a point to a lot of things until you start experiencing real life problems like losing someone close to you.
Yeah.
Like the world around you, start seeing what the world around you actually is once like your parents stop protecting you, and like because he passes, like he gets like he sees that there's a war going on, he gets war experience, his role model is killed in front of him.
Yeah.
And like you can see like a maturity building up.
Yeah. That's actually a really great point. I hadn't thought of it that way, in that he's sort of nonchalant up until that point. And then up and after that, he sort of recognizes the importance of being like someone the village can rely on, and going as far as absolutely destroying the guy who did it, and not in a way like I'm more powerful than you. It's I'm smarter when I put myself to it type of thing.
I'm smarter than you, and also you're going to live eternity in a hole, awake.
So sick, yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I don't know like if anyone like watching is watch the whole show, but if you watch it dubbed instead of if you watch it subbed instead of dubbed,
yeah,
you see something a little different in that scene. Actually,
yes.
so yeah, he lights. What was the teacher's name again?
Asuma.
Asuma, thank you.
Yeah.
He lights a cigarette for him.
Yeah.
But in the sub or in the dub, he doesn't do that because it was for Western culture. It was for the Western viewers. So
that makes so they cut out the smoking bit.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the best part.
I thought, that's what made me get sad. I was like,
and then he throws the lit lighter to burn the thing, right? Yeah.
Paper bombs.
Yeah. Man, what a great scene. It's such a
great show.
Yeah. So would you call that one of your favorite moments, probably?
Oh, if I'm like, having a hard time sleeping at night, I'm laying in bed, I will go and watch like the scenes from Naruto I like, and that's one that you definitely go in my search history. That's there. Like, that's just badass, man. I thought that was a badass scene.
What are some of your other favorites?
Final fight, obviously, between
it's
Naruto
one I haven't gone back to. It's really too emotional. Yeah, I've watched their first battle here.
Yeah,
like obviously because like in early like 2000s, that was like every like anime music video was this fight with like Linkin Park.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, no, the thing is that you don't get numb to it if you keep watching it.
Great pun. Look at that.
Yeah. Thank you for the recognition there. But yeah, you don't it never gets old, and you almost get a little sad knowing they destroyed this place, like absolutely
wrecked it. It's a beautiful
two cool statues.
It's like they could have gone anywhere in the world. He's like, we should go to that one place and finish the job we did last time.
Yeah, like the super intricate statue, not like these heads over here. Yeah, let's go to that one. Like, yeah, I was like, oh, that's such a shame that they had to do it there, but that's a whole part of the symbolism with it. He's like, where to meet me, and they just bounce there.
And also, it's sort of symbolic of that, the cycle repeating over. Obviously, with these two dudes, they're sort of like the past versions of Sasuke and Naruto, and these guys are even the future versions of the what are they? The sons of the Sixth Sage.
Yeah, I feel. Was anyone named Toby? Not Toby Rama. No.
Toby Rama's the second Hokage.
Yeah, second Hokage.
I can't remember the name.
I can't remember their names either. But yeah, it's just like it was like a almost them destroying it was actually symbolizing breaking a cycle. So Never mind. Maybe
I didn't even think of that.
yeah,
That's
maybe
sick.
that actually was
Oh
intentional. And
man,
never mind.
we're
Them just
uncovering
showing
the
it's
deep
cool.
lore here.
Yeah, man. Like, and that's another thing. Like remember, this is a child show.
Yeah.
This is a kid show.
Yeah, and I think sort of that's for me. And I'll pose this question to you too, but what I think people get wrong or have a misconception about anime is that it often starts as like a children's TV show, but because it takes so long to make them, by the time you get to the end, like what did Naruto run for, like 15 years or something?
15, 16 years, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So by the time you get your 10-year-old audience is now young adults, right? Like so the subject matter has changed drastically from the first episode where he's, trying not to crap his pants after he ate bad milk or whatever. And now he's trying to kill his best friend type of thing. Like it's, the growth there. It starts sort of childish, but it ends in very like adult themes kind of thing.
And that's and that's actually something I've heard that people say they have a hard time when they try watching it. Is like there's actually two different series. There's Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and the original Naruto series is more immature.
Yeah, for sure.
Not super, but like definitely more. Like you still deal with death, and there's still deep-seated lessons to be learned. But
yeah, but I think it's cool, and like it almost feels when you're watching it like you're watching it from a child's perspective. Because obviously, like the first time I saw it, I was already like an adult. So, but like watching it, it definitely has like a more whimsical feel until shit just hits, and it's like, oh, what? People are dying. Like this is,
yeah.
And then like, but it feels almost like if you were a child and those things were happening to you, like the shock and how drastically things can shift like so quickly. And then when you get to like Shippuden, it's all bad all the time. Like
It's very dark. It's extremely dark.
Yeah. So have you like pulled anything from the series out of like that darkness or the levity from the beginning that like you feel impacts your day-to-day life? Like are there any like lessons you've taken from it with you?
As corny as it sounds, like I think it's like, the main character Naruto, he's super super looked down on at the very beginning of the show, but like, and he's kind of an idiot too.
Yeah.
And at first he's not strong at all. Like he's having a hard time learning everything. Like people are grasping like controlling chakra and stuff way quicker than he is. And you can argue that, what was sealed inside him was a big buff, but I personally think he would have figured out a way. And I think that like it's a good lesson to kind of think about. Is like your destiny isn't actually your destiny. I don't think anything's set for you.
Right.
I don't think the cards you're handed is exactly what your outcome needs to be. And I think if you want to do anything, you can do it. And I think it's a good lesson to always go by. And I've actually thought about it before. I'm like, you know what, man? Like, who cares if I'm this old? I'll start doing this. Or who cares? Like, if I'm not that smart, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, definitely from the perspective of his character, like was told he was one thing and would only ever be that thing, and defied everybody else's expectations in spite of it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
just because he
like
wanted to.
The most hated person to like, this guy saved everyone.
Yeah, like the heart and soul of the village. Like,
yeah,
all
the way through to a whole other series, which I won't get on about that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I haven't got too deep into Boruto, but maybe briefly, just your thoughts about that. Are you a thumbs up, thumbs down?
I'm a thumbs up if you read it. I'm a thumbs down if you're watching it. I'm a thumbs down until recently.
Okay.
I don't know what they've done. Their animation quality was terrible. Now it's really good. Mm-hmm. But all that aside, I think Boruto has the best fight, like single fight out of any of the the whole entire series. And I know I could get flack from that from some people, but like, have you seen the Momoshiki and Naruto and Sasuke fight? Oh
no.
Wow.
So I've seen the first like 30 episodes of it, and I've seen the movie. And my experience, okay, well, what was your experience with the movie?
You know what's funny? I didn't watch the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've read the manga?
Yeah.
Okay, so the movie's sort of like a condensed version of it. Um, so you get the Chunin exams are in there,
Hmm.
as well as the fight with one of the siblings of what's her name?
Um,
The one who brought chakra to the world.
Kaguya.
Yeah. So one of her like family members or siblings or whatever, they come and there's a fight with like Naruto and Boruto and Sasuke and all that. But I remember watching the movie and it starts off, you're obviously following Boruto, and Naruto's just like, the dad who's not around.
I
And
know.
the first hour of the movie, I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm like, man, this is not the character I just watched for fucking 800 episodes.
Yeah.
Like they got it wrong. But then I was like, okay, I'll finish the movie because like, I'm gonna give them the respect. And then again, at the end of it, I'm bawling my eyes out. They like make the Rasengan together and win, and it's just like, oh man, Naruto is good. Like he is a good dad. He's just got so many things to do, and he never learned
Looking
how
for a
to be a
village.
dad because his parents were dead. Like it's not his
Yeah.
fault. He's still trying. And
uh,
Boruto's a piece of shit.
yeah. And you know what's funny? Actually, so the first arc of Boruto is what the movie was.
Yeah.
They go so further into depth with it. Where at first they actually make Naruto look even worse than he did
Oh,
in the
really?
movie. Yeah, and I was like, oh, this isn't. Yo, no, he wouldn't do this shit. Like, why do you
Yeah.
make
See,
him
that's
like
why I
this?
love it though, because I'm like, when I thought about it, I'm like, man, this makes sense. Like,
And
how would
now
he
that
have
you said
learned how
that,
to be a dad? Like, and his son, like, you might as well have not had a dad because your dad's always working. He's never spent time with you. Like, it's almost the same situation Naruto was in at the beginning of that show.
mhm,
And we saw like how he was rebelling and graffitiing the heads of the Hokage, like in the
yeah,
same exact fashion, right? It's like, yeah, no doubt, like they would turn out the exact same way. Like, uh,
and yeah, and that's like what I like. Now that you mentioned that, like that's exactly what it is. Like how would he know to be a dad? Like he had money dropped off for him from the
yeah,
third, and they were like, okay, well anyway, here's your apartment, you 8-year-old boy. You're gonna
yeah,
live here.
yeah,
And they're like, why is he such a bad? That's a whole other thing too. Is like they was like, yo, please look after my kid. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Dude. Like, oh man, and even like Kakashi, like, bro, you could have pulled up every Saturday or something, like
Been like, hey, how's it going?
played some video games with the kid, like,
He's like,
something.
and he should know too. Like Kakashi has a horrible backstory.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, going back to Boruto, the show did a really good job at the final part of that arc. Um, the sibling to Kaguya, Momoshiki,
Yeah.
actually becomes one of the main characters in the show after that.
Okay. Like the
Um,
main villain or
yeah. How much do you want to know? I can kind of go into a little bit of
yeah, sure,
depth
go
of
ahead.
that. So basically, like the fight in the show is a lot better than the fight in the movie. Momoshiki's character design is even different in the show. Animation's better. The whole fight is basically an episode, and it's like
Damn.
Sasuke and Naruto full power. Like go like you see like armored nine tails fighting. Like yeah,
That's
like it's
sick.
the show's really good. But when Boruto kills Momoshiki, you find out they have the ability to like plant a mark on them, which is like a
That's
data
what that thing
transfer.
is.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I've been wondering what that's the thing that he's got on him, right? Yeah.
That's Momoshiki's power, and that's him
Wow.
like tapping into it. I guess basically becoming a um, what are they called? I
I
forget what
don't know.
those Otsuki. Yeah. This whole
Oh,
clan,
cool.
space clan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and that's what you know other guy there has too. So I don't know. I need to get kind of more into it. I feel I'm like probably like 4 months behind on Boruto after
Yeah, I'm a
some
couple years
tragic things
back.
happened.
Yeah.
Very tragic things happened, but I think you should read that on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. See, okay, so are you familiar with like Avatar and Korra?
No, that's actually something I need to get into Avatar. Like
Okay, 10 out of
really.
10 recommend on par.
Yeah.
Like obviously like the fighting and animation's different.
Mhm.
Um like obviously like if you're looking for like well animated fights, it's not the greatest, but it's still really good. Storyline's great. Um and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but basically there's okay, so say like Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
Episode 8. I remember like going into it, there was some posts that were like, if I gotta watch Luke Skywalker die with my own eyes, there's going to be hell to pay.
Okay.
From like, I saw like a manga panel of Boruto, and it was like Naruto dying, and this was like, I think this was like a fan made thing, because this was like years ago,
Mhm.
and I was like, while I was starting to watch Boruto, and I was like, fuck it, no. If I gotta watch Naruto die, I'm not gonna be okay. I
You
need like a
actually
few years.
you tweeted that to me. I remember when the thing that happened. I tweeted about it. I was like, oh, that was I can't believe that just
Yeah,
happened. And I didn't say what it was. I was very vague.
yeah,
But I don't know if you tweeted me or you like personally messaged me on Twitter. You're like, if I have to see Naruto die,
yeah,
I'm not gonna be okay. So keep that off Twitter. I
yeah.
was like, yeah, I know,
Oh yeah, I
I won't, I
forgot about
won't.
that interaction.
But I was like, yeah, I know I won't. But yeah, like you were fully serious. Like, no, man, I'm not watching.
No,
I
no,
refuse
I
to.
wasn't. I couldn't do it, man. Like when I so yeah, to I'll be as vague as possible. When I made the jump from Avatar: The Last Airbender to Korra, um, and if you're at all familiar with avatars, the Avatar is the reincarnation of the last Avatar. So that's all I'll
Yeah,
say. And I watched the first episode, and I was like, I am not mentally in a good enough place to be okay with this child I just watched for 4 seasons not being around anymore. So I can't watch this show. So I had to wait like a year before I watched it so I could like process the information. Because like
was
I
it?
don't know, I feel like that's just a testament to how well the character's written. That like I don't want to watch him die.
And that's exactly it. And like I think I speak for a lot of people that like there's like going to be a whole generation that goes into Baruto and might not even know that there's a
Yeah,
800 episodes
yeah,
of something else before that. But I think if Naruto or Sasuke die in Boruto, I don't know if I could continue with it.
yeah.
I don't. It's like I could tell if they do kind of gear that way, they're trying to get you to like Boruto, but it's like nothing. I don't think anything will come close for me.
Yeah, I would have to be so unequivocally like on Boruto's side, like sold on the character for me to be okay with that. Like
Which is
I
hard
don't
because I don't
yeah.
know if what you have seen, but he's kind of like a privileged asshole. If you have
Yeah.
to be
Which is
honest with
like
you, man.
I think it's interesting storytelling because if you just did the same thing again where he's just like the next Naruto, it would feel sort of like contrived or like, you know,
Exactly, it'd be stale.
yeah. So like
So
this is an interesting reverse of it, but that doesn't mean I have to like the character.
no, exactly,
Yeah.
and like all power to them. I bet there's people out there that will watch Naruto and be like, "This is lame. Boruto's way better."
Yeah.
God bless their soul, but not me. It's not me.
Yeah. So okay, so uh like you said you had watched other anime or you actively watch other anime so much so that you've repeated most of them.
Yeah.
Is this one that you've rewatched? There's a lot of episodes, or do you just pick out your favorite episodes and rewatch those?
Actually, I did rewatch it.
The whole
Um,
thing?
yeah,
Oh my god.
and I watched it longer because okay, so when I first watched it, I did without filler,
Me too.
and
I did filler for the first 600 episodes and was like, I need to finish this
yeah,
series.
yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody watching or listening to this right now who are like, you know what, I'm gonna go and give this show a shot. Watch the filler, except for the boat. You do not need to see the season on a boat.
Yeah, so that's the first one I skipped because
Yeah,
it's right before something huge happens and they say, oh, something huge is about to happen. And then they go on these boats and I was like, wait, what? This can't be what they intended. So I looked it up. It's like, yeah, it's a filler arc. And I was like, fuck this. I can't do another filler arc.
and isn't it like 18, 19 episodes, something like that?
I don't know. I fucking skipped the shit out of it.
It's long, but when I first watched without any filler, like I found a list on Reddit, it was like approved, even like the moderators approved of the list. I was like, hey, this is it. We're gonna watch this. Although in a 21-minute episode, there's 18 minutes of complete horseshit that doesn't actually matter. Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
No. You can curse.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. There might be 3 minutes in that filler that's important.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones is that I think without filler, you kind of wonder, you're like, yo, man, Naruto, why do you care about this Sasuke guy so much? Like, why do you care? Like, you guys don't even like each other that much.
Yeah.
And then I started watching the filler, and like, they played pranks on like Kakashi. They like went on other little side missions together. I'm like, oh, see, the filler kind of also served as like building up their relationship.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I missed all this. Oh, and then when I watched that final fight again, I was like, oh, this hits different. They actually were friends. Like, they were actually friends.
So one of the best filler arcs, I think, is when they all get put in the giant Tsukiyomi at the end, and everyone's having these like fever dreams of like reversed history, like what ifs of the original Naruto show.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one where like Sasuke becomes like the Uchiha never get eliminated, and there's still the police force, and Sasuke becomes a cop.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But then there's also one, and this is why I give Boruto a bit of a pass, is there's also one where the fourth never dies, and Naruto's still born, and he's like the son of the fourth, and like all the girls love him. He's got like the Link like sideburn hair.
Like, oh, right.
Yeah. And he's like super cool, but he's a douche because he's like this privileged douche who's like super powerful, like never faced adversity, and he's a totally different dude.
Yeah, because his dad raised him, so like the fourth raised him.
I'm like, oh, this is Boruto. I get it now. Like,
yeah,
this is why I don't like Boruto.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
That is why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
It's
when you change the upbringing, yeah. But okay, so then between this and like your other anime that you consume, like what sets this one apart from the others?
I remember you kind of like alluded to that question when you asked me to join this, and you were like, that's going to be like, I'm going to ask you questions like this is an example. And I thought about it, and I had a hard time coming up with like a reason on what made this so much different for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because they spent 800 episodes doing character development.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the power system, I really, really like the idea of like the ninja villages, and the way that they fight their wars. I don't really like animes that use guns. I've never actually been a fan of it. Like, I'm just like, I can watch that in any movie that comes out ever. Like people fighting with guns.
Yeah.
But like there was like, I think it was like a combination of like, like the characters are so well, like it's so easy to like them. They're well developed. You see them develop as the episodes go on. There's no really any regression with any of them. They all keep going forward in their development. And then the power scaling to the point like you look at the first episode to the last, and like what people's abilities are, and they're completely different people. There's so much good lessons to be learned, and it's not just that like black and white, I'm the bad guy, you're the good guy. Like you everybody's point of view is extremely relatable and understandable. If you
they're all valid. Like
they all are, and you see their backstory, and you're like, yeah, like that is valid. Like if I grew up in a war-torn area where my family was murdered in front of me by accident,
I would also be radicalized.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I just think that like every character in there is just so human. Like I doesn't feel like I'm watching a fiction.
It's not like, oh, here comes this type of character. It's like, oh wow, that happened to you. That's terrible.
And I think the first time I realized like that I liked the villains too was one of the first villains you meet, and that's Sabuza, the what was his nickname? The demon
sword.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, like this isn't just like a your typical villain scenario. Like these are characters who just have you're seeing a real life clash of ideologies, which happens in our world, and I don't think any anime has really captured that to this extent. Like they've brought in real world ideologies and like problems in with the mythical ninja realm, which is just structured so well too.
Yeah.
And also I've always had a big thing for the artwork. I think the way the land looks is just,
it's so sick.
Everything about it is just cool to me.
Yeah. I think, that's the thing too, is a lot of times I feel with anime, the villain's the villain because we need a villain.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a listener of the Lords of Lore podcast, you've probably heard me rant about Dragon Ball Z before. And I love the show, but the main problems I have is the villains are very one-dimensional. And they're only villains because they're stronger than the people we know, and they want to destroy the world for some reason. Like that's just their motivation, is they want to destroy things, and it's every villain, right? Like it's Cell, it's Boo, it's whoever the new guy from Super is. It's Frieza. Guy.
I don't really know Super, unfortunately, that well.
Yeah, but you're not missing much. And okay, so the biggest difference for me between that and Naruto is that it follows the same beats story-wise. You go up against somebody, you learn how they became the way they are, and eventually you become friends at the end of it, and now you're fighting on the same side. Like we see that with Vegeta, we see that with Piccolo, we see that with Boo to an extent. And there's a few other characters where that same thing happens. Yamcha, even, and Tien from the original Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Dragon Ball, yeah.
Yeah. But with those ones, it's like, I beat your ass. Now you got to join my entourage. And that's it. Like, there's never really like a conversation where they exchange perspectives and the other guy says, I see how you see it now. But in Naruto, that happens in almost every fight. It's not just that they're fighting, it's that there's an exchange going on with like conversation. It's like, Gaara, I'm gonna make you see this from my perspective because I know you're mad, but you don't have to do this. Whereas Vegeta's just like, yo, beat his ass.
Yeah, I know. And like that's the thing, it's like and Naruto has a reason too. Like he's like, yes, this world is bad and everyone's fighting, but I'm going to bring like hope back into it. For like for Goku, it's just like, yo, that guy can kick. I can kick harder than that dude, I bet. Like,
yo, what are you gonna do, bro? I already beat your ass.
I know. And you want to talk about plot armor? Goku should be dead. There is absolutely
he's died.
Yeah, exactly. For like a while, yeah. And like there's no reason they should just like they come up against a god, like an actual god, and he starts fighting him, and they're like, oh, well, the Saiyans actually are able to do this thing we never mentioned before, and was probably useful a couple arcs ago.
Oh my god. Dude, there's literally a clip out of me going off about this exact thing. Be like, oh, what? This other Saiyan showed up and now he's as strong as me? Well, I'll become a Super Saiyan. Oh, you're a Super Saiyan too? I'm an ascended Super Saiyan. Oh, you're a god? Me too, bro.
Yeah, like now my body reacts without my mind even realizing it.
Yeah,
and
ultra instinct.
And I bet there's something that we both of us don't even know exists that's going on right now that someone who's listening is probably like, oh, well, that actually kind of sounds like this thing. But
yeah.
Because I don't know what's going on.
Naruto does a similar thing where like the power scale, like you said, keeps going up, but like there's training montages. Like you see this guy struggle to learn how to do a Rasengan for like a whole season.
Yeah.
Until he needs to do it and he comes away with it. And it's like, oh, the payoff.
And you got to remember, like, there was like, he was able to do it. And then for another season after, he needed training wheels. If you look back, he used to have to make clones to help him keep it all in, and then after a little while he's able to do it himself. But
man, that one scene where he just finished training with Killer Bee and he's making his way to the war and he's like Rasen Kyugin and like the giant ball where he like uses the tails and grabs the guys and shoves the I'm like, yo.
Yeah, no, that was the thing, is like, because they kept it kind of secret, like you didn't realize how strong he got, and like how much he was able to control. And then he started fighting were they the white Zetsus?
Yeah.
How he was doing, and I was like, whoa. I was like,
Yeah.
what the? Oh, this is gonna be different. Like Madara's gonna pull up and be like, who the hell's this guy?
So you've listened to me explain why I hate Dragon Ball Z for certain reasons and love it
Yeah.
for others, but is there anything you actually hate about Naruto?
Um. Okay.
Like
Okay.
besides filler?
Okay. I have one. I have a couple that I
Okay.
just it just bothers me to an extent. And I actually was thinking about this the other day before you even asked me. Um. So one thing that bothers me to like no extent is that Kakashi has a nickname. Okay. His nickname is the Copy Ninja.
Right.
How often did we see that come into play?
I remember it twice. Yeah.
But like his enemies would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's Kakashi of the Sharingan, the Copy Ninja," and he did it like twice. Like, why was he so feared for
I've had
this?
that exact same thought. Like,
I was like, why? That's the stupid. Like, you guys forgot to write that in more,
yeah.
or you wrote it in, and then we're like, wait, how do we make this work?
Yeah, it became an unscalable power. Because if
Yeah,
he can copy everything, then he should be the most powerful type of thing. So they're like, let's just not do it anymore.
exactly. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're just gonna kind of drop that. And then my biggest thing, and this is something that I think actually you and I have talked about,
Okay.
but when Naruto fights Pain, he pulls up in an outfit that is never seen again.
It's the sickest outfit, man.
Why? Why was that
Uh,
never seen again?
Because, like, okay, so first 3 seasons of the show, he's wearing the one you've probably all seen, orange and blue with the white fur.
Yeah.
It's iconic, but like it's childish. He gets the new jumpsuit, it's sick, and then he shows up in the Sage Mode outfit.
Yeah.
The cloak, the staff, the scroll looks so sick. And I remember watching it being like, oh shit, this is the new outfit. This new drip is crazy. Like, so excited to keep seeing him. And then the next episode, it's gone.
Where'd
Never
the
seen
cloak
again.
go? Did they ever explain where that went?
He throws it off at some point, right? In some like epic cloak moment.
Oh yeah, wait, he does go like crazy, like can't manage this nine tails, right?
Yeah. And then Pain makes the thing, and he escapes it in like the skeletal nine tails thing.
And then Pain was like, I misjudged my
Yeah.
opponent. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah, but those are the two things. Like, I know they're not really important to the story. They're not like super like bad loopholes or anything, which if you do go and do a deep dive, you can find a bunch of loopholes with like the rules of how the powers work and like the release of energy and stuff like that, where like they kind of contradict themselves sometimes. But I've never cared enough to actually for me to remember. But those two things pissed me off to no extent.
That's funny because I have those exact same things to point out. Like, bro, why didn't but then why didn't all people with Sharingans also copy people all the time?
Yeah. Then it would have just been like a battle of a bunch of people just getting absolutely rolled by Sharingan. And then, okay, another thing that bothers me a tiny bit is that as you watch the show, you find out that these Uchiha, this clan of people, they're the strongest. Like, they're so strong that they're feared to a point where one of the leaders talks one of the strongest members to assassinate the entire clan.
Mm-hmm.
Cap. I do not think one man, no, even if it is Itachi, I do not think one man could have killed every single one of them, man. No.
Yeah. I do think it's it's the exact definition of a plot hole, or because maybe not a plot hole, but plot armor, maybe. Like, it had to happen and it had to be Itachi, but there's no way it could have.
Yeah. I would have understood if they would have used what was his buddy's name? The one that we never really got to see.
Shisui?
Yeah. He was if they would have worked together and did some kind of mass genjutsu that would have, incapacitated everyone, he would have assassinated them, which would have been really morbid now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But the way he did it was it was very poetic. It was super, it was cool too. But as you think about it, you're these were the scariest people, and this was an entire village of them, and he just snuck into all their houses and stabbed them in their sleep.
Yeah, and like not even like a veteran member. Like he's pretty
Yeah,
young when he does it. Yeah.
and he is strong. Don't get me wrong. He's like I think if Sasuke and him would switch roles, Itachi with Sasuke's power would have been unbeatable.
Yeah.
Naruto would have got rolled at the end, but
that's one of the best fights too. Sasuke and Itachi. And when they first and they're beefing, like they're going at it, it's like none of this is real. You're like, yo,
that's when you learn. You're like, how do you fight this guy? And then he had to stop using genjutsu to actually let the fight happen. He's like, okay, I'm tired of you wrestling yourself in the middle of this room to scrap. And then of course the end scene. That's rough. That's a hard one.
And for me, that totally justifies all of Sasuke's actions afterwards.
Yeah.
Like you live your life being lied to, and it's a rough upbringing. And then you finally get justice for that rough upbringing, and you learn that also was a lie. It's all been a lie, and it's all these dudes' fault. Yeah, fuck you guys. I'm coming for everyone. Like,
yeah, like
no
imagine
reason why anyone should suffer that much.
Imagine going crazy. No, not crazy. Imagine going on the worst revenge trail you could go down, and then get revenge on that person. You find out they were your one true ally, but you find out after they die.
After you've killed them.
After you've killed them.
Yeah.
So now you're the person who was actually looking out for you the whole time is dead. Your family's dead. Yeah. You've left the village for like, I think at that point it was like 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would be coming for everyone too. I'd be like, hey, this place needs to burn.
Your revenge mission, you told everybody who actually was rooting for you too to fuck off. Like you cut those guys off so you could go do this thing, and it was the wrong thing to do. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be pretty upset as well.
And how he deals with it, like not after everything's said and done, and he's back being like homies with the village, and he becomes the Shadow Hokage. He keeps his arm gone as a constant reminder of his sins and stuff. I was like, yo, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Just being like, yeah, I probably deserve that.
Yeah.
That's the least I could do.
No, this is my biggest mistake, and I'm going to keep a constant reminder of having one hand.
Man, I love this show.
Me too.
What do you think people get most wrong about it, though? Like, what is the one thing, like even for you, like you said, before you got into it, you assumed it was like cartoons for kids. But in like now having gone through it all, is there something people or people you interact with are like, what is, the show with the running arms thing? Like, what is that? Like, what's the one thing people are wrong about this show?
Yeah, like besides the obvious, like I said, it being a cartoon, I think what a lot of people don't understand is it's not just I'm gonna fight you to fight you. It's not Dragon Ball. It's not, hey, I'm a strong person from this place, I'm gonna fight you because you're a strong person from that place.
Right.
It has like a lot of meaning and a lot of life lessons kind of rolled into it. And at the end of the day, I think it's not really for any age group. I think it's for everyone. I think people get that wrong a lot too. And it's not too big of a bite to chew either. I know 800 episodes sounds like a lot, but trust me, when it's done, you wish there was more.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you do. It's hard. But yeah, no, I think the whole genre, a lot of people are still having a hard time kind of getting over. I know a lot of people that are like, oh, like I told some people I was doing this and they're like, oh, nerd.
Yeah,
I was like, no, it's not like what you thought in like 6th grade where you're like, oh, that the weird kids watch this stuff, know?
Yeah. Watching like, Inuyasha and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like it's not like that at all. It's substance. There's a lot of substance to it.
Yeah, I think it's just as credible as any other medium, film or otherwise. Like
100%.
Yeah,
100%. One of my favorites.
Okay, so now we'll move into what I call the trial by fire. So these will be sort of like rapid questions. If you want to explain your answers on some of them, feel free.
Okay.
The first one's funny because this is just a little Would you ever get a tattoo of this property? But obviously you have.
Oh, I already do, man.
Why don't
I
you
have
tell everybody about them?
so there's a scene in the show where so the Uchiha, a little backstory quick. The Uchiha have, the special eyes, the Sharingan. And if you get to a certain point of loss, loss of a loved one, loss of someone special to you, your pain inside of you unlocks a higher level of that eye. And there's a scene where Kakashi, someone who has a Sharingan, and Obito, someone who also does, actually it's his that Kakashi has, they at the same time they watch their best friend die.
Oh my god.
And when they watch their best friend die, both of them unlock the new Sharingan at the same time. And in the manga, it's panel to panel. So you see one, because like they're both Kakashi's eyes from Obito. So you see Obito's
left and right side. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
So my one calf has Obito's Sharingan awakening, and my other calf has Kakashi's
That's awesome.
Sharingan.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's heart-wrenching scene.
Yeah.
And I also like, again, to state why this is not exclusively for children and maybe not for children in some aspects.
Yeah, that's
that
the point.
The PTSD he deals with after that, like washing the blood off his hands weeks later, and he's still like going into the bathroom and there's still blood on his hands and he like can't get it off. Just like that visual is stuck with me so long, just like the guilt. And he's like hallucinating like this physical blood on his hands. It's so sad.
And that was that's Kakashi, right?
Yeah.
And that scene's also really sad because Rin technically committed suicide on Kakashi's arm, and that's also how his dad died. So like,
yeah,
hard for him. But
yeah, it's super sad.
Really sad.
Kakashi's had like, and I think again going to that point is everybody in the show has had it rough at some point, and that's why Naruto's goal is more valiant in that he's trying to end suffering in general.
And that's something we actually never said. His goal is peace. This is a world torn by war. So that's why his goal is peace, and everyone else's goal seems to be
it's one of those war things where it's like we're not even fighting over something specific anymore. It's just because we've been fighting for so long that like now I need revenge on you because you killed my father, and you killed my father because he killed yours, type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Okay, so say you're at a party, right? And maybe not one of the parties where you and I are often at with a bunch of people we know who are also into this. But say you're out with your girlfriend and she's introducing you to her friends. How likely is it that you'll bring up Naruto?
Oh, okay. If nobody else, if there is absolutely no reason to, I won't. But if there's the slightest reason to, you best believe I'm bringing it up.
So okay, define the slightest reason. Like you see someone with like a little Akatsuki cloud on their jacket, or like what's even smaller than that?
Okay, so it's funny that you said that because I have an example.
Nice.
So back last summer, we had restrictions lifted a bit, so there was small gatherings people were going to, and we went to this outdoor one, and I asked to use the guy's washroom at the house, and he's like, "Yo, yeah, it's like make sure you sanitize your hands before you go in. The sanitizer's in the garage." So I like go in there, and I noticed this little emblem, which I thought was the Uchiha emblem. And it wasn't. It was like some kind of thing for like a construction sign. So like I asked him about it. He's like, "No, but what is that?" He asks me, he's like, "Oh, what is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's from Naruto." He's like, "Oh, is that good?" And I was like, "Oh, buckle in." And like 45 minutes straight. I went in. And that's all it'll take.
Yeah. And wow. So you're like at a moment's notice, you're ready to go in.
Ready to have a conversation about this. I'm like, you must. If you don't love it, you must love it by the time we're done talking. Everyone needs
just
to.
For the people watching, I asked Dustin to come on this show. He goes, "Yeah, can I talk about Naruto?"
yeah. He's like, "What do you want to talk about?" And I was like, "Oh man, like I like a lot of things. I do like Naruto." He's like, "Yeah, it's your choice." I'm like, "Cool. So we're gonna talk about Naruto."
Yeah. Okay, so You're in a happy relationship.
I am.
Um, so, but just hypothetical, maybe not based off your current relationship, but just a hypothetical relationship. If
Mhm.
someone you were seeing, and you brought this up to them that you're a big fan of this, and they were like, "That's the worst," or "That's so stupid," that's like really lame. You should be ashamed. Maybe not. You should be ashamed, but they're just like, "I hate that show. It's so bad." Is that a deal breaker?
It's not, because to be honest, in the relationship I'm in, that's the
I didn't
exact
want
that.
to.
Yeah, I know. My girlfriend hates the show.
This show specifically, or like general anime?
Uh General anime, but not all of it. Like, she's watched some of the kid that she
Mm.
likes, but like most of them are like most. I think she feels like most of them kind of are geared towards more of like a young like boy. I don't think I haven't been exposed to many that like were very like geared towards like the younger girl, which the ones that are she did like. So I think
Okay.
coming up, like, she didn't really watch a lot of them, but actually that's the kind of, I'll retract that honestly, because it's geared to everyone. Everyone should watch this. I don't this don't matter who you are. But yeah, no, she hates it. She absolutely hates it, and
Wow.
she makes fun of me for watching it. And it's gone to a point where it's just like she almost like digs in a little harder to like make it more jokey, but
Okay.
it's not a deal breaker at all. I'm an adult.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
yeah.
like
That's
what
the
you,
right answer.
yeah, you can like what you like. I'll like what
Yeah.
I like. If I would honestly, I feel like I'd be such a bad, like, such a immature thing to be like, yo, you don't like my cartoons, get out.
What do you mean you like Sasuke over Naruto?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Um I think yeah, going back to that like geared towards children thing. I think like there's obviously like you and I have talked a lot today about the cool powers. So there's
Mhm.
obviously like that just power fantasy aspect of it where it's just like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool to throw lasers out of your heads?" Like
Yeah.
that's definitely like a childish dream that I think a lot of people have. But for me, I think the staying power of the show is definitely like the character work.
Oh, for
Um
sure.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, it definitely shouldn't be a deal breaker, but I think it's
Absolutely not.
fun to ask because, yeah, that's funny insight.
I was actually
Um,
more worried it would be a deal breaker for her, but luckily,
that's
that
usually
wasn't
how
the
it goes,
case.
though, right? You're
That
like
wasn't the case. Yeah.
embarrassed, sort of thing, but it's like it's a silly thing that you love, and that's fine. You guys should definitely watch Avatar together. I think that'll
That's one of the ones she's watched that I haven't.
you should, man, you'll love it. You'll love it.
What's
uh,
what's that other one too? Uh, Sailor Moon. I think I wasn't a
Sailor
big
Moon,
fan.
yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
couldn't get into that one, but
yeah, that one's like one of those like 90s ones where it's like some of the humor is inappropriate. Like,
yeah, I know. I
yeah,
was like, oh, kind of
sort of not for
sexualized,
the
which I
times.
wasn't a huge fan
Yeah.
of.
And they're like teenage girls, so it's really
Really weird.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know what the obsession is with it as of late, but like, I think it's really weird that you're just like, yeah, let's sexualize a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Like obviously okay, so like obviously like growing up, you don't think about it that way because you're like 10. You're
Yeah,
like, oh, hot chicks. But like
yeah.
as an adult man now, like some animes I can't get into for that exact reason. Like, why are we like this is like there's grown men making the show. Like,
Ki-
this is not okay, you know?
Kill la Killer, Viva la Killer, that one's called. Where
I
like
haven't seen that.
the smaller your clothing gets, because like your clothing is your power in that one, the more powerful you are. And this girl's like 15, and she at one point is just wearing nipple tassels, and I was like, "Yo, I'm out.
Oh,
I
it's just
can't."
not okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things Naruto I don't think does with the underage characters. There's certainly like sexualized characters in the show. Um,
oh, for sure.
but they're all sort of like Jiraiya. It's to highlight how, you know, depraved Jiraiya is, in like a funny way. Maybe it's not appropriate for kids or everybody might not want to see that, but it's never like tasteless, you know?
Yeah, it never gets like super. It's never so tasteless. You're like, oof, I don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But like
uh,
that's even like the sexy jutsu. Like I think if a 10-year-old could do that, he would definitely do that.
Abuse the fuck out of it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
yeah. It's and the funny, like, he retains his own face. So I like, maybe it's like a little bit, suspect, like
Yeah.
homophobic vibes a little bit, but like it's really funny at the same time.
It
like,
is. Yeah, I thought it was
yeah.
hilarious.
But yeah, anyways, the next question is, if you could, would you choose to live in this world? So as you are right now, whether you would be transported with powers, you're not sure. You have to make the decision like at a moment's notice. Do you want to go to the ninja world? What would you say? Yeah.
No hesitation.
Yeah. Would you be scared?
If I'm in the Leaf Village, not on Naruto.
Yeah, that's fair. But then Pain shows up and fucking you don't know if you're gonna make it out of there.
That's true. Do I retain the same knowledge that I know of the world, or do I start afresh?
Let's make this question interesting. Okay, so let's say you went there and you didn't retain the same knowledge, and you didn't get chakra. Would you still go?
No, that would be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Because that's the coolest part about it. And I'm just gonna be the guy sweeping the floor who gets killed by pain. I don't want that.
Okay, so what if you then so you go, you don't retain any knowledge about Naruto, but all your Earth memories are intact. But when you try to think about Naruto, it's like a weird white space type of thing. And you get chakra. Would you go?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you'd go. But what if you didn't get chakra and you still had your Earth memories?
Getting chakra is, I think, a deal breaker. I don't think I can go there without chakra. That's the biggest point.
Yeah.
Because even if I don't have a lot, I can still walk on walls and become a ninja. So like
yeah. Like Rock Lee. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about last one. Would you if you could go there, you retained all the information about Naruto, but you didn't get chakra. So you knew how it worked. You knew like everything about it. You knew who all the characters or players in the grand scheme of things. Would you still go?
I think so. Yeah.
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 You'd be like a strategist.
I would hit up Orochimaru and be like, what can you give me? What can you do? What can you do to me to like give me like some kind of power?
Yeah.
And I would probably take him up on any offer he's willing to give.
Oh no, Dustin. Oh, that's hilarious. So yeah, I think we sort of broached this one before, but how easy is it to get you talking about it? So I think that we sort of covered that one with the party example. But like if someone just asks you about it, you're like, I'm diving in.
Yeah.
It's
super easy, and especially like I have 3 friends that it's very easy to talk to you about it with, and it's Matt, Chad, sorry, you being Matt, and Chad and Noah.
Yeah.
And I think there hasn't been many parties where like some anime talk hasn't been brought up between the 3 of us, or anything like,
or like Marvel,
what you call
or something.
Nerd realm.
Yeah.
I think it's just a cool piece of media realm, but whatever
you're in the right place.
Yeah.
So how often would you say then that you end up talking about this, like in your daily life?
Every single time I hang out with one of you 3, and probably at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Wow, that's cool.
With my girlfriend, because like I like I'm reading constantly. Like if it's not this exact show, it's one of them. So like she asks, she's like, "Oh, you what reading?" I'm like, "Oh, this is Jujutsu Kaisen," and then I'll kind of go off for a little bit, and I'm like,
yeah.
And by the time I look over, she's on her phone.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I talk. It's easy for me too. I like what they do with this type of media, and I think it's something I'm gonna be into and talk about forever.
Yeah. Okay. So then that brings me to my next question then. So I know you're not huge on Boruto, but you do consume the manga.
Yep.
So how much money would you have to be paid to never consume or talk about this property ever again? So you can't read the manga, you can't watch the show, you can't talk to people who have, you only just have your memories of it. How much money would they need to pay you to stop talking about it? The way I said that made it sound bad. You know what I mean?
No, you're not asking me to stop. Like, please,
yeah,
please
I will
stop.
pay you.
Like on my cash app,
pull out my wallet.
Right You know what? As silly as it sounds, I don't think there is.
Wow.
I I don't think like
$1 billion.
yeah, I'd probably if you showed me $1 billion, I'd probably be like, yes. So yeah, hypothetically, yes, it would take a lot.
Yeah.
500 million, I'll say. Because like
Wow.
I don't know, like yeah, I have all this money, but now I can't watch my favorite show on like my
Man,
downtime.
I think that's a beautiful answer, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, because like it's like, how much does happiness cost?
Yeah, it's like
Like, yeah.
there's no price on happy. Like this is one of like when I'm like it's gotten to the point where like when I'm sick, so like when the world was normal and I was
You could
working
get
every day.
sick and not be in fear. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I'd
Yeah.
have sick days. I'd watch my last favorite episodes of this. Like I can't sleep. I'm watching things on it. Like I keeping up with the Boruto manga because I want to see what happens to the characters that I've fallen in love with the last couple of years. I've watched this, and it's something that me and old friends are able to like jump into at a moment's notice of a conversation.
Mhm.
I have shirts that have it on it. I have tattoos on me. Like I just I just don't think that there's like a number that can just omit something that like I enjoy so much and just like, okay, well, yes, I have this money, but now my life is 30% more bland. It's just not, it's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Man, that's a really beautiful answer. I like that a lot. That's
Thank you.
cool. Yeah, so I think that'll conclude this episode of Unabashed. I think I can give you the crown a definitely unabashed fan of Naruto, without
Oh
a
yes.
doubt, for sure. So yeah, well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been
Yes,
great.
anytime. You let me know. I would love to do this again.
Oh yeah, if you have other topics you want to go off about, feel free to let me know and we'll schedule another episode. But where can people find you if they want to talk to Naruto? Talk
Let's see.
not to Naruto, talk
I've
to you about Naruto.
recently deleted a lot of my social media,
Uh-huh.
but I just because you brought this up earlier, I recently brought back my Twitter. So if you want to, you can always follow me at my Twitter, which is Dustin H underscore. So that's a DUSTINH with an underscore.
Nice.
You'll know it's me because the profile picture is an anime character.
Oh
Gojo,
yeah.
Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. And
Nice.
I've been a little silent lately, but I'll bring back some content.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you on again. You guys can expect the next episode of Unabashed to come out probably 2 weeks from now, again on Friday. And as always, you can catch the Lords of Lore main show every Tuesday on our RSS feed, any podcast networks you're listening to, or on YouTube, where we have the video as well. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.